What's up, everybody? We got a special collaboration today with Brad from Dad's Game Over TV, and
No, from Noah's Game Over TV.
we are doing something different than what we normally talk about. We're doing a UFC 300 fight card. We're going to talk about the fights that's already been confirmed. We're going to go in the list of the order that we think they're going to take place in.
And then, like, possibilities on
what the
think.
co-main event will
Or,
be.
like, what the whole card, like, what the rest of the fights on the card will be.
Yeah, because I think we got 2 more fights left to be announced, which will be the co-main event, main event. But we'll get into that. We'll talk about the fights. We'll see who they fought just in their last 5 fights, and we'll say who we think's going to win. So this is the fight card. If you want to pause it, check it out. That's the fight card. The way we're kind of thinking it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We got the early prelims. We do know Bo Nickal will definitely be fighting Cody Garbrandt in the very first fight. Dana's already said that's the start of the fight. So that's going to be early prelims.
Who do you think's gonna win that fight?
You want to start like that?
Yeah.
All right, so who we got? We got Cody Garbrandt. Let's see. His last 5 fights, he's coming off of 2 wins, but he had 3 straight losses. Well, you got Bo Nickal, who is coming off of 5 straight wins, all in the first round.
What, over, like, who's he got? Not really.
Nothing huge names. A couple that was on the Dana White's Contender Series, and then 2 UFC pay-per-views. I know they're hyping up Bo Nickal to be the next big thing at middleweight, and he could be. This might be one of his first big. He's fighting Cody Garbrandt. Like I said, his last 5 fights, he's 2-3, but he stroked off 2 wins. The last one was that KO slam with punches. He picked the dude up, slammed him. I remember watching that one. That was on the Darush versus Sarukian fight. So, I don't see this one going out of the first rounds, but I got Bo Nickal probably first round submission.
I think it's probably gonna be. I want Bo Nickal to win. I think he's gonna win, but I think it's gonna be by a decision.
You think that one's going to go to decision?
I think it's gonna go all 3 rounds. Yeah, I think it's gonna go.
What?
Yeah.
5 fights, all in the first round. The other dude's got.
I think he's gonna go all 3 rounds.
I don't even think Brundage goes. He's got 1 decision. Everything else is first round.
I think he's gonna get.
This ain't going to the decision. First round, Bo Nickal.
First round.
First round, Bo Nickal. The next on the early prelims that we think is going to happen, just announced earlier today, is in the featherweight division. It's number 12 ranked fighter Sadiq Yusuff
versus my guy, one of my favorite fighters, Diego Lopez.
Yep, Diego Lopez. So we got the last 5 fights right here. Lopez is 4-1 in his last 5 fights, where Sadiq is 3-2. Sadiq's coming off a big loss to Edson Barboza, but Edson Barboza's a big name fighter, so he did have a win against Alex Caceres, which is a big fight. He just lost, and he also lost to Arnold Alain, who just lost. Did he lose or win this past weekend? I forgot.
I forgot.
We missed that fight. I heard that fight wasn't that good anyway, so we didn't miss much.
Yeah, Diego Lopez. I remember watching him. He got that second round KO, I believe.
Yep. That was the first round against
round?
Pat Sabatini. Because Pat Sabatini was hyped up to be to run through him, and Diego Lopez knocked him out.
Yeah, knocked him out first round.
So, who are you going for?
Diego Lopez.
I think Diego Lopez, too.
I think it's going to be like a second round KO or TKO.
I'll go second round TKO.
That's what I think it's going to be.
And that'll definitely get him in the top 10 after that fight. The next fight on the early prelims is...
Well, what
I think is going to be Jim, hold your ears, effing Miller.
Versus Bobby Green. Versus
number 14 ranked Bobby Green. So Jim Miller is the first fighter to fight on UFC 100. 200. He's also fought at 200, and of course he'll be the one to fight on 300.
Unless he gets
the tricentennial fight for UFC.
Let's
hope nobody gets hurt on this card, because so far the card's stacking up really good. So Jim Miller's coming off of a big win, 2 big wins. So he's 4-1. beat Donald Cerrone 4 fights ago.
That was
Then
kind
I
of
lost
like
to Alexander Hernandez. Then he beat.
That was also like, you got to think about it. That was also when Donald Cerrone was probably getting old.
Oh yeah, but he's also finishing everybody. So
That's
Jim
true.
Miller's still in the game, still doing the damn thing, fighting
crazy.
Bobby Green. Bobby Green,
Coming off a big loss. A big loss.
a big loss. Yeah, Jalen
big
Turner
loss.
knocked him out bad.
Cold,
So
yeah, knocked
I don't
him
know
out
if Bobby
cold.
Green's coming back the same fighter. That reminded me almost like a Chuck Liddell Rashad Evans knockout. He was out. He was out, son.
Bobby Green was out for a good, like,
What they said,
2
he got
minutes.
slept.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's basically, he's 2-2-1. He had that no contest against Jared Green.
He beat Tony.
Accidental head. He beat Tony Ferguson, but
Old Tony
man, as
Ferguson.
much as we love Tony Ferguson,
What is he, 0-8 now?
yeah, he's 0-8 in his last 8 fights. Dude's a soldier, still goes in there. But it's time for him to hang it up. But Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. Bobby Green's got a puncher's short chance, but I see this one going Jim Miller, second round submission. What you think?
See, I think Bobby Green.
Bobby's gonna catch him.
I think he's still got a little bit in him. I think Jim Miller's getting kind of old. I think Bobby Green by like, I don't know, like third. I don't know how he's gonna win, but I just think he's gonna win. I don't know how. Probably like.
I definitely ain't gonna choke him out, so he's gonna have to knock out Jim Miller or get a decision. If you
I
think
think it's
Bobby.
probably gonna.
So you going for
Be a
Bobby?
close decision. Yeah.
Ooh, we're not in agreement on this one. Interesting. So that's what we have for the early prelims. I know UFC can normally do 12 fights or 13 fights for the for big pay-per-views.
Hopefully they do
As
that.
of right now, I have it broken down with 12 fights. But if there is one more, definitely not main card fight added, I think it'll be another early prelim to where we'll have 4 on the early prelims. Now getting into the prelims, and this prelims could be, I think, a UFC main event for anything else. That's how stacked this card is. I got starting off the prelims in the featherweight division, which he's stepping up now in weight class. Was number 1, bantam ranked.
Technically unranked.
Yeah, well, he's unranked, but yeah, I don't think they have him ranked right now. We got it right here.
He's fighting a top.
Yeah, so they don't even
top
have
10
him
guy.
ranked.
He's having Aljamain.
Aljamain was the number 1 in the bantamweight,
Bantamweight.
stepping up to featherweight, fighting number 7, Calvin Kattar. This is an interesting one. I always like to see when a fighter steps up. I always thought he was kind of big for that weight class. He looked horrible against his fader, Sean O'Malley. But his resume don't lie. His last 5 fights, he's 4-1. Of course, that devastating knockout to Sean.
He's got some crazy wins.
Yeah, but
He's
who's he
got
beat?
Henry Cejudo, T.J. Dillashaw, Peter Yan twice.
Yep. Well,
Which is crazy.
kind of Peter Yan hit him with that illegal knee when he was on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But he came back and he
came back and beat him, yeah.
Split decision. So, but then he won with the punches against T.J. Dillashaw. They thought T.J. was the thing. Then Henry Cejudo came back after a layover
And
after he retired, but came back.
He's gonna be fighting on shoot.
Cejudo?
I think it's 298.
Yeah, he's fighting on
Yeah.
298 on
It's
the
him versus
Volkanovski
Marab.
card.
Marab something. It's Henry.
I'd have to go
versus
look that
Marab.
one up.
I got it right here.
But we got
Wanna search it up?
yeah, but even Aljamain Sterling's last 5 fights was, of course, Sandhagen, Pedro Munoz, and Jimmy Rivera, all wins.
Mm-hmm.
Now you look at Calvin Kattar, loss against Arnold Allen, loss against Josh Emmett, a win against Giga Chikadze, Chikadze, then a loss to Max Holloway, and then a win against Dan Egg. So he's only 2 and 3 in his last 5 fights. Yeah, that's when he hurt his knee. So he got a knee injury against Arnold Allen. He was probably going to win that fight, but he lost it. He got hurt. So I see Aljamain Sterling stepping up and taking this win. I think this will probably be the worst fight on the card. So I see this one going to a decision for Aljamain Sterling.
I think it's probably going to be a submission by Aljamain. I just don't think Calvin Kattar can come back and after that knee injury, just come back and win. But you never know. But I think Aljamain Sterling is going to be still rough for him because he's coming up a weight class. He's trying a whole different weight class right now.
Yeah.
So
the good thing is he's had time to put the weight on and do it the right way. So we'll see. We'll see April 13th.
Yep.
Next one on the prelims.
That we
had the bantamweight. We got number 8, Deiveson
Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt.
Garbrandt. Yep. So
that's gonna be a good fight. I think this might be like the fight of the night. Maybe.
Think this could be fight of the night?
Or TKO of the night, maybe.
It's gonna be a good one. You got Deiveson. He is.
It's gonna be a brawl.
He is 2-2-1 in his last 5 fights. A win against Rob Font. A loss against Brandon Moreno. A win against Brandon Moreno. A loss against Brandon Moreno. And a draw against Brandon Moreno. So this dude hasn't fought anybody else but Brandon Moreno damn near in the last 4 years, except for Rob Font, which he won a tight decision. It was unanimous. I thought it was a little closer than it was. Against Cody Garbrandt, who is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. They saying Cody's on the way out. He is one of the older OGs left on this card. He had a big knockout over Brian Keller on the Edwards versus Covington card. Kind of reclaimed his spot.
He wasn't on
it. Yeah, that was the Edwards versus Covington card. The Leon fight. Yeah, he just fought, so he had a quick turnaround. He knocked the dude out in the first round, and he's like, I'm good, let's go. I do say he's training with I want to say Terrence Crawford, the boxer. I saw on Instagram today, so he's going to be working on his punches. And then he lost to Rob Font and he lost to Kai Kara France. And Deiveson Figueiredo beat Rob Font. So, on paper, this should be Deiveson's fight. I'm going with the OG. I'm going with Cody, No Love, Garbrandt. I think it's going to be first round knockout.
See, I think it's the other way. I think Deiveson Figueiredo is going to knock him out first round. Or second round.
Deiveson don't have a whole bunch of knockouts, man. It's going to be a good one, though.
It's going to be a good one. I
think this is going to be a scrap.
I want Cody Garbrandt to win, but I think Deiveson's going to catch him.
We shall see. So, this was the one that was signed last night. This one came out of left field. You got, it's going to be the women's bantamweight. So, you got number 6, Holly Holm versus the 2-time Olympic judo gold medalist, the PFL women's champion, Kayla Harrison. So, I had to do a little homework on Kayla Harrison. Wasn't very familiar with her. I knew she fought for PFL. I've heard the name before. I printed out the last 5 fights for everybody.
It's going to kind of be like a...
You got Holly Holmes, who is 3-1-1. She had that no contest that was overturned by Mara Bueno Silva, who just fought and lost against Raquel Pennington. Then he fought Yana Santos. She fought Yana Santos, Ketlin Vieira, Arlene Aldana, which she won, and Raquel Pennington, who just won the title. Pennington just won, right? Was it Pennington that just won?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think Pennington just won. Yeah, Raquel Pennington's champion. That's what I thought. So, Kayla Harrison to me is Ronda Rousey 2.0. Olympic judo gold medalist. If you look at her last fight, she's been in PFL damn near this whole time, except for a few fights in Invicta. There's literally nobody on here that I even know that she fought except Aspen Ladd. And she's no longer with the UFC, of course. She's fighting in PFL. But if you look at Aspen's fights, she really beat nobody. I think this girl's coming in with a bunch of height. She's going to be huge for 135 if she can even make weight. She's always fought at 145 or 155 even. I see Holly Holmes, Ronda Rousey her. I see a head kick knockout. Or a head kick and then finishing with strikes. I say Holly Holmes second round knockout because I see Kayla getting tired after trying to grapple her for the first round and wearing herself out. What you thinking? I know you're not familiar with
like
Kayla Harrison.
It's like a former champ versus former champ, basically.
Yeah, you can look at it champ versus champ.
I think, what's her name, Kayla Harris?
Kayla Harrison?
Kayla Harrison probably going to out wrestle her.
You think a decision?
Yeah.
Noah's Game Over TV says decision. So on the last prelim, I'm thinking it's going to be the number 2 light heavyweight, Jiri Prochazka, versus the number 5, Alexander Rakic. Rakic. So, coming off last 5 fights for Jiri, you got, of course, the loss for the title against Alex Pereira.
But
that was a hell of a fight. It was tight.
It was. People say it's probably an early stoppage, but I think that Alex Pereira, even though it was early, I think he still would have beat him on the ground.
I think Alex Pereira is going to win it anyway.
I think.
Then, of course, he won the title against Glover Teixeira. And Alex, of course, got that revenge. And he beat Dominic Reyes, Volkan Ozdemir, and then CB Holloway. So, and that was in Rising when he fought CB. So this is only his 5th fight in the UFC. Which, for some reason, I thought he had more fights in the UFC, but he doesn't.
Really?
Yeah. And then you got Alexander Rack. Loss against Jan Blachowicz. He's got the win against Thiago Santos, the win against Anthony Smith, a loss against Volkan Ozdemir, and then a win against Jimmy Manuel. On paper, this is a Jiri fight all the way. Rakic is ranked number 5, so it's the number 2 versus number 5. I think whoever wins this will probably get a number 1 contender fight. Because we got Jamal Hill coming back. We got a few people calling out Potan right now. So, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. But I am going with Jiri. And I am going to say, let's see, knockout. Let's go Jiri knockout.
What round?
Huh?
What round?
Round 3. It's going to be a dog fight to the end.
I think he's going to knock out.
You want to be Jiri too?
Yeah, I think Yuri's going to win. He's going to knock him out in the second round with a spinning, flying kick, bro.
Some kind of kick.
Yeah.
All right, we can go with that.
He's going to knock him out with a kick.
So now we are getting into the main card.
Or what we think is
You kind of cut off. There you go. Scoot over a little bit. All right, so here we go. Lightweight. Number 1 contender fight. The number 1 Du Bronx, Charles Oliveira, versus number 4, Arman Tsarukyan. So, here we go. Arman, last 5 fights, 4-1. Big wins. Joaquim Silva, Beneil Dariush, where he just destroyed him. Damir Ismagulov, Matiz Gamrot, which he lost that fight in a decision. But it was unanimous against and Joel Oliveira. Then you got Du Bronx, also 4-1. His last win was against Beneil Dariush. The loss against Islam. But then he beat Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and Michael Chandler. So when you look at it on paper, man, just Arman has no shot on this one. But I'm going with Arman on this fight. I think he's going to shock. I'm thinking a decision. I know a lot of these don't go to decisions with these 2 fighters. Charles Oliveira hardly goes to decision. I think with the number 1 contender fight on the line, I think they're gonna.
I don't know. I think Charles is gonna have some ring rust. He's not gonna be used to it because of the.
When was his last fight?
What, knee injury or something?
No. He wasn't hurt.
Yeah, he was because he was supposed to fight.
It's been almost a year, so.
Yeah, he was supposed to fight on 295.
Okay.
Not 295, 294. Remember, he was supposed to fight Islam.
Yeah.
So I think I just don't think he's gonna be used to it. And
So you
Armand
think
just got a
Armand?
big win. I think Armand's gonna beat
You
him.
think he's shocking? He's going to be the shocking? Because I think
I think it's gonna be
Oliveira's the betting favorite right now.
round 2 or round 3, something.
All right.
Something.
I can see that. Now, the second fight on the main card. I'm going with the BMF title. You got number 2 lightweight ranked in the world, Justin Gaethje, versus the number 1 featherweight, Max Holloway. Stepping up to 155 for, I believe, the very first time. Now,
second time.
Max?
Yeah, didn't you say he fought Dustin Poirier?
Yeah, but I think Poirier was at the 145.
You mean featherweight?
Yeah, what I put? Bantamweight? Yeah, it's featherweight. Yeah, number 1 featherweight, Max Holloway. So the last 5 fights, Gaethje's 3-2. A loss to Khabib and loss to Charles Oliveira. Wins against Michael Chandler, Rafael Fizera, and I think I said his name right, and Dustin Poirier. Probably not. Then you got Max Holloway.
You said Dustin Poirier.
Coming off the knockout of Chen Sung-yong, the Korean Zombie. Arnold Allen. And then his loss to Volkanovski. A win against Yair Rodriguez. A win against Calvin Kattar.
Which is on
and
that
then
card.
back-to-back losses to Alexander Volkanovski. So a lot of people in all the forums and the pages ain't giving Max Holloway a chance in this fight. They think Gaethje's going to be too big. But he went to 3 tough decisions against Volk. Volk took the lightweight champion, Islam, the first fight, to a really tough decision. And he took the second fight on short notice, which I don't think he should have, because I think that ruined a lot of his
that should have
pull.
been he should have waited.
Yeah.
Could have had a bigger fight. He probably could have won that too.
But he got paid, so that's all he was worried about on that one. But I think that knocked some of his stock down a little bit. But this will probably be the fight of the night. Hopefully Max can put on the weight and still stay strong, fast. There's going to be some people bleeding on this fight. This is actually a pretty BMF title fight right here. I think this is a better BMF title fight than Gaethje versus Poirier. Even though Poirier is the hometown boy for us, we're right here in New Orleans. Poirier's down from Lafayette. This I could have saw as the main event, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Man, I just don't know. I'm still saying Justin Gaethje. I think he's going to be too big, so I'm going with everybody else. But I hope Max. I hope this is a fight.
I think it's gonna be a decision.
Yeah, decision.
But I think
a
Justin
Justin
Gaethje's gonna
Gaethje
win.
decision.
I want Max Holloway to win,
And it's going to be 5 rounds.
but I'm gonna take Max Holloway to win.
Ooh, Max Holloway win. Gotcha.
I still think that Justin Gaethje's more the.
He's going to be
Probably.
coming with some crazy shots on him. So,
As long as they're gonna get knocked out in like the start of the second round again.
yeah, hopefully this ain't a Justin Gaethje head kick and knock him out like the Poirier fight, because that one was crazy, but it sucked.
I mean, it was crazy.
I was ready to
but
see some people get beat up.
Yeah, we was ready to see a whole
So-
5-round fight with blood and everything.
So, then the number 3 fight on the card, I got the women's strawweight championship. The champion Zhang Weili versus the number 2 Yan Xinyang. I have no clue how to say her last name. I know I butchered it. I know I'm gonna probably get ribbed on the pages, but whatever.
Yan
Zion.
I almost just said Yan
Yeah.
Zion, like she's
Zion,
a
like basketball.
player.
So,
Yan,
they're hyping up the Chinese versus the Chinese.
history.
Yeah, it's history. It's the first Chinese title fight versus the Chinese. I was kind of shocked to see this on a 300. I could have thought this could have been like UFC China main event. They go there enough. It would have been, I think, a big for that card. But you know what? I don't mind seeing Zhang Weili. She friggin' brings it in every single fight. You got Yan. She's 3-2. Big wins against Andrade, Dern, and Gadelia. So it's a pretty good list of wins. Her losses were against Rodriguez and Esparza. And then you got Weili, big win against Amanda Lemos, Carla Esparza, Joanna Jodorskis, and then the loss
Two
to
losses.
Rose Namajunas.
Yeah, which
So-
I think is crazy because what Zhang Weili just beat Jessica Andrade. What she just destroyed
Jan
her.
beat Andrade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I said.
Yep, with KO punches. So, I am still going to go with Weili. I think Zhang's going to keep the title. And I think it's going to be a decision.
Yeah, because you always got to think of it. Weili just destroyed what Mandalima? What is it?
Yeah, Amanda Lemos.
Yeah, she just got
No, that was a 5-round decision, but it was unanimous.
It
25
was
minutes of
wrestling, and then when they got up, she had double strikes in her, double everything that she had on her.
Yeah.
I think the best that the other girl did was 18 seconds of control.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
No,
So this is where it's going to get interesting.
I think Zhang Weili.
You going with Zhang Weili?
Yeah.
Decision? No?
Second round submission.
Submission.
Or, fourth round maybe.
Fourth round?
Fourth round.
Think she had to wear out?
Yeah, like a Khabib.
So now we got the co-main event and the main event.
Or what we think it's gonna be.
What we think. So if they would have announced this fight, I could have seen the big giant, what do we call it? The big fight where
Super
you got
fight?
the big super fight. Could have been definitely Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. You basically got the number one in each weight class coming up. I always think of the super fights back in the day when I was growing up with the UFC. I've watched UFC since UFC 1. You had Anderson Silva versus George St. Pierre. Anderson Silva versus John Jones. Those were the super fights. Brock Lesnar versus Fedor. Brock Lesnar versus John Jones. So that to me could have been the super fight that they were talking about. It's two big names. Definitely could have headlined UFC 300. But Dana said it's not the headline. It's not the main event. It's not the co-main event. So if we do have two more title fights, I gotta say the co-main event is going to be Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. I think that's definitely the co-main event for the welterweight title. Leon already said he's fighting. Belal knows he's the next in line. Now, for the Islamic and Muslim fighters coming off of Ramadan, they finished a week in their fasting right before. So I don't know how much training is going to get done. So I don't even know if that's even going to be possible. I'm not an expert, definitely in none of that. So we'll leave that to the experts to make the calls on. But I think that's going to be the co-main event. Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. And I see Leon getting a 25-minute decision over Belal Muhammad. If that's the co-main event.
No.
No?
No.
What you think?
Belal Muhammad's, they say he's a born fighter, but he's still a skilled fighter. You think
of course
Leon
he is.
Edwards just gonna walk in and destroy him?
No, that's why I said 5-round decision. I think it's going to be unanimous. I think he's going to win every round.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No. So this is where it gets interesting. The main event. I'm going to save what I'm hoping is the main event for last. And then I'm going to say what I really think the main event's going to be. So when you look at the champions.
We got a couple of things that could be.
Well, let's look at we got the UFC app pulled up. We know Islam's not fighting. He's still hurt. Alexander Pantoja. He could fight, but he is not the name to headline the card.
Sean
O'Malley's fighting a month before. Volkanovski's fighting too close to this. Now, Volkanovski fights after the UFC 300 tickets go on sale. And Dana said the fight will be announced before tickets go on sale. So since this fight's after the tickets are on sale, we know it's not going to be Volk. He's not in it. We got in Leon Edwards. I believe he's going to be the co-main event against Belil. Now we got Dricus. Dricus was busted up in this last fight against Strickland. They haven't said anything about a medical suspension, so he still has a chance to fight and headline the card. Let's just look at the champions, then we'll come back and look at each weight class. So we definitely could have a middleweight fight. We got Alex Pereira. Potan could definitely still fight. We got John Jones. John Jones officially said he will not be fighting at 300. He is not healed yet. But we do have the interim Tom Aspinall who could fight. So let's look at the least likely.
Well, we know none of the...
Tom Aspinall could fight. Now, who could he fight? They're not going to give him Pavlovich again because he knocked him out so bad.
It could be Cyril Gane, and then we know it's not going to be a super fight because we know Brock Lesnar's not.
Yeah, so Brock Lesnar was one of the ones that was floating around, but we know he's not coming back. Stipe, from the rumors on the internet, Stipe turned down the fight. He said he only wants to fight John Jones because that's the big money fight to leave his career. It's the best of against the best. I understand that, but I think Stipe should personally fight Tom Aspinall. But I think he's ducking him personally, and I'm a huge Stipe fan. You do have Cyril Gane, which is coming off a win against, I think, Alexander Volkov.
Yeah. Which is...
So, Cyril Gane versus Tom Aspinall. That's a possibility. I don't see it. I don't think that's a big enough fight to headline UFC 300. Now, the only Tom Aspinall fight that could headline would be against the interim heavyweight champion versus the light heavyweight champion, Alex Pereira. I don't think Potan wants that fight.
And Pereira said he doesn't want
to... I don't think he's going to go up to 300. Yeah. That would make him a title holder.
You mean...
He'd have to go up in weight class. Yeah. Alex would have to go up to heavyweight.
You said go up 300.
Well...
we know what you mean.
Yeah.
Go up
in
weight class for 300. We know what you're saying.
So, Alex Pereira, Aspinall, I would not be mad at that fight. I think it'd still be a pretty good fight, but I think Aspinall is just too big, too powerful. I think Alex Pereira would get knocked out, personally. But I could see the storylines. Alex Pereira, champion versus champion. First fighter to ever go for 3 different division weight class championship. And I still think he has a chance, but not a good one. So... basically, the heavyweight, I don't see a main event happening unless it's Aspinall Pereira. More likely, Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. I don't think Hill's ready to fight, and Hill's got some legal troubles going on because he got arrested for getting into a fight with his own brother. I don't know why you fight your own brothers, you go to jail. You shouldn't go to jail for fighting your own brothers. They've been doing that for beginning of time. So we do have Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira. That fight could happen, but then again, we're talking about Ramadan. Is Magomed going to be able to fight? Is that a big enough name to fight?
No.
I don't know. It could be. The whole card stack, so just having another title fight and them pushing that. They got 4 title fights on here. It could still happen. So then we got Alex Pereira defending his light heavyweight title against stepping up in weight class, Israel Adesanya. The rubber match. 1-1. They got history going back.
UFC.
Yeah. Because it's actually 2-1 if you go back to kickboxing. But Pereira versus Israel. Definitely could happen. It's a rubber match. 2 big names. I don't know if Israel wants to go up to light heavyweight.
And I don't think Israel's ready.
But that could definitely be.
It could be the main event, but I don't think he's ready.
Yes, that could be definitely a main event. But I don't know. I don't know if he wants to go up in weight class. I think he wants to stay at middleweight. Now, Dricus du Plessis. It all depends on if he has a medical suspension or not. He was busted up But you got two options at the middleweight. You got Israel Adesanya, and you also got Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier is not a big enough name. I think it'll be a killer fight. Actually, I think Jared can beat Duplessis. But I don't see him headlining. I don't think he has enough draw power to sell the pay-per-view, even though this pay-per-view is pretty much going to sell itself anyway. But that's where we're at right now. Israel Adesanya said he's not coming back. He want to take time away. I think that's bullshit. I personally think the real main event is going to be Dricus du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya for the middleweight title.
I don't think it's going to be that.
Or it could be a wild card. Alex Pereira goes back down in weight class because he can make middleweight to fight du Plessis. Champion versus champion. There's your super fight. That's the one we've been waiting on. What do you have to think about the main event before I jump into what it could be, might be, wish it would be?
I think the co-main event
Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz.
Yep, that's what it definitely should be.
So what you
Two
thinking?
grandpas going at it.
All right, so what are we thinking?
I think it's probably going to be the co-main event. I want it to be Khamzat versus Strickland. Whoever wins gets...
Khamzat versus Strickland is the main event?
No, co-main event.
Co-main event. Okay, you're going back co-main event.
If like he can train and get the weight and stuff, Khamzat. But I think whoever wins that has the next title shot for the middleweight.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
then,
co-main event, you thinking?
Mm-hmm.
And you think the main event is going to be Belio versus?
No.
No? What you thinking?
I forgot about that fight. So I think that's probably going to be the co-main event. Bilal Muhammad and Leon.
So you thinking that's the co-main event?
Yeah. I forgot about that.
So you thinking Strickland versus Khamzat would be the main event, though? No. So if you're thinking it's going to be a Strickland versus Khamzat, that would be your co-main event. And then the main event would be Leon versus Muhammad.
Unless they add another fight and they can do that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now, Khamzat versus Israel is personally the fight I want to see. Because that will really tell if Khamzat is the real deal at middleweight. Which we know he has a hard time making welterweight. So he did step up. But he also calls out light heavyweight. Dude's crazy. He's the wolf. He's one of my favorite fighters right now.
I think he should fight Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, he just go all the way up weight class. So, what do you think the real main event's going to be? Realistically. I think it's Izzy versus somebody.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be Izzy versus either Duplessis or
Pereira.
Strickland.
Or Strickland?
I mean, not Strickland. Pereira.
So, what I think the left field, home run, super fight, the big name to pull everybody in, I think they've been blowing smoke up our asses. I think it's going to be Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler at UFC 300. They've been kind of avoiding that talk. Conor came out, said he's fighting at International Fight Week. Dana said that's bullshit. Dana said he'll tell everybody when he's fighting. That would be the fight to make 300 even bigger. That would be the superstar studded match that Dana White's been promising us. That's just wishful thinking since we're going. I am a Conor fan. Even though I'm scared of Conor fighting Chandler. I don't know. Nothing's been officially agreed on. That's just Tana talking his smoke. But I would love for that to happen. Conor versus
What about this?
Chandler.
What about
main event, co-main event, Belio versus Edwards.
What about, since he's going to be fighting at middleweight, Conor versus Khabib knockoff, Conor versus Khamzat?
They do have a little history going back, so that would be amazing too. But Conor's already said his fight's going to be Chandler. So
I don't think Chandler has enough time to get to middleweight, and get the weight and then start training and.
I don't know. But today is January what? Well, today's the 24th or 25th? Today's the 24th.
24th.
So we basically got right about 20 days left before tickets go on sale. I think we'll have the main event by
Tomorrow.
this Saturday or next Tuesday. For some reason, Dana likes announced it fights on a Tuesday night. I think that's when they do the. I think that's when they have the meetings. With the people who schedule the fights. They make sure all the contracts and stuff are signed. So that's what we're thinking we're at for UFC 300. We will be there. Better believe that. So we'll have a bunch of videos we'll be pumping out. I'm going to post this up on Dad's Game Over TV and on Noah's Game Over TV. Definitely watch the Dad's Game Over TV. Hit that like and subscribe. He's got more subs than me, and he's always talking that crap. So I need more subs. Hit me up. Hit that like button. But just show us some love. Tell us who you think the main event's going to be. Put who you think's going to win.
Me. I think I'm going to win.
And we'll probably do another similar video like this once the whole card is actually done and official. And can't wait to chat with y'all. Peace.